Thank you, Vina. Should have recorded the meditation. No. That's very nice. I'm always amazed how even meditating together on Zoom seems to work so well. It's just very surprising. Very nice to meditate with all of you. So thanks for being here today. We've got quite a bit to share, and we are going to try to do it in 45 minutes. So we like to keep these Zoom calls to an hour max if we can. Let everybody go back to their evening. But I'm going to start with just a quick overview and catch up on where we are in what's called the entitlement process. And as you probably know, but in case you don't, this is the political and city and regulatory process of getting your plans approved to begin construction. And it's basically what we've been doing for the last couple of years. And we are making progress. We're actually very excited right now because we could reach final approval from the city as early as February now, our planners tell us. Now, it might be a month or two after that, and probably will be, but we're definitely rounding the bend here. And in general, things are going really, really well right now. We had an incredible, I describe it as a bomb dropped on us in the few days before the dedication, which some of you were at the dedication events, or many of you, which was just a really blessed experience. It just from beginning to end, it just was a very, very uplifting time and fun time for all of us, and made a lot of connections and really seemed to kind of throw our stake down on, here we go, this is going to happen. But just before that, on the Wednesday before it was starting on Friday, we got these seemingly very, very bad news about our soils report. And without going into a lot of detail, it really brought the whole project into question, honestly, or at least the way we had been looking at it up to then. So it initiated all these meetings and engineers and this and that and the other thing. We ended up digging 6 test holes on the property to double check things. And in the end, it was basically a mistake. The engineers made a mistake. And so it was just amazing week for us there, and pretty stressful. But it actually all worked out great. And our big financial deadline, which was October 15th, was just a few weeks later. All worked out. We found a way forward with that without going into all the details of that. It all seemed, in retrospect, orchestrated to work together to find the way forward, which we have. So now we're in a very good position because we, it is a rather astronomical amount of money we're dealing with here. And as I was telling someone, you do get used to all those zeros after a while, and it takes a little bit, but what we found is that there's just an amazing amount of energy and power in a large group of people cooperating. And we have a lot of people involved at this point. And so we continue to meet the right people, it feels like, and we continue to field a lot of interest. And I would say, generally speaking, it's just going really well right now. And I'll just lay out briefly how we think it could and should unfold over the next year. So as some of you know, we've raised about 2.4 million so far, and we need to raise another 2 million by August of next year. And that is easier than it sounds, because the closer you get to entitlements, the better positioned you are to attract funding in various ways. And we are getting really close. And like I said, we could have final approval from the city even in February. So that's tracking along. By far, the best way to finance this is through our own people who want to live there. and we don't really see a problem um, selling these building products and lots by virtue of the location in Fort Collins and by virtue of the very expansive and inclusive vision of community that we have put forward. And but we really want to attract those people who feel it deeply, who get it deeply, who care about community and care about the values we care about. And so right now, what we really want to do is find those people. So any of you who can work your network, people you know would resonate with these values, share the website link, any of that. This is sort of our time to really get those people involved now would be the best thing. And also the easiest and most economical way to build the community for all of us to afford the community. So that's sort of where we're headed. So on the calendar, the way this could look is somewhere February, March, April, we get final approval from the city. That is not the end of the bureaucratic process, however. It takes many more months, probably till August or September, to finish the engineering and the documentation and the development agreement. There's a whole lot of legal and bureaucratic things that get done in those months. But by August next year or September, we could have officially be stamped to break ground at Polestar Village. So that would be just huge. And if that all goes, we could be pouring foundations in October next year, conceivably. And so just to give you an idea, we are making progress. I remember it seemed like for about a year, I was telling people, yeah, well, in 12 months, you can convert your loan into a, it seemed like I said that line for about a year long as we were managing all this, but now we really are, rounding the bend, and it is looking good. The economic and political landscape of America right now is somewhat terrifying if you think about it too much or look at it too closely. And my belief is a couple of things on that point is that one, you're always better off investing in what you believe in, because life is so short, and making decisions out of fear is not the way to live, and also because we are builders and because we believe in community, a downturn in the larger society wouldn't necessarily be all bad for us. In fact, it would definitely have some upsides. We are builders. We like to work hard. We like the spirit and the cooperation of the community, which is really, is really a great wealth. Whatever economic wealth is out there, that's really an amazing amount of wealth to have friends and to be sharing life and to be sharing resources. These things are priceless, and so I just feel really positive about our prospects here, and actually the potential downturn, which we're already seeing, will make the building of Polestar easier in a number of ways, because the market has been so superheated. It's really been hard to get people's attention. Everybody's just moving so fast. So anyway, we're pretty upbeat about what's coming for us. It is not too early for those of you who have invested and are looking to live at Polestar to start looking at the plans with a mind to, well, where would I be? Where would I like to end up? And I'm very willing to have those conversations with people. I realized something last week that I can send out, and I will do this soon. I can send out a whole list of all the floor plans with the elevations in one file. So that way you can just go through and click that. I love that map on the website, but it is data intensive, and it takes a long time to load, and some people haven't been able to navigate it, and et cetera. So anyway, I will try to get that out in the next week for anybody who's interested. And then we'll put a link to it on the website as well. So you can just go to this file and look at all the floor plans and read more about them and ask questions about them. But the idea will be by August next year, we will be making that transition from loan to investment for those who want to. And as you know, many of you have invested, and that is still your option. So you can look at all in the eyeballs and decide what you want to do. You want to just stay with your loan, and then, but then we will do that process of the queue. We'll try to figure out, well, who's going to land where, and how is that all going to work out? And so we'll have that whole process. One of the things I wanted to share about again, and because this concept is gaining momentum in my mind and in people I've talked to about it, is this idea of the collaborative ownership model, whether it's a real estate investment trust or what they call a TIC, tenants in common. For some of us, that is going to be a very sensible way to be housed at Polestar, is to be in this collective that you have your investment as part of. So let's say we took the approximately 40 units that are right on the village green, which is apartments, and there's fourplexes there. There's a couple of diverse products there. But instead of buying this particular 600 square feet or 1,100 square feet unit, you turned your investment into this REIT or TIC that would be a percentage of the whole of the value. Now, the way it can function is you can get exclusive use of a particular unit. So you could say, I want that unit, I'm putting in this much money, that's basically my unit, and it can work that way. And so you don't ever have to move. You get exclusive use of a unit. On the other hand, if life changes, which has been known to do from time to time, I've noticed, your situation changes, and now you want to downsize or upsize or do something else entirely. If you don't live in that unit, you get the rent check. You basically get a return on that investment. And you've also supported Polestar Village coming into manifestation. So this is a time-tested model, and it's all the rage on investors these days. In case you haven't noticed, Google REIT. I just read an article by the Motley Fool, which is a big investment thing you may have heard of, but they're going through just all the advantages of what they call a REIT, a real estate investment trust, because you can be invested in real estate, and in our case, you can live there and actually feel like you own your home. But then if you don't live there, this is property that will be managed by a very motivated on-site community. Real estate investment trust. Thank you, Dana. It's I think a very good opportunity for an investor, and this is part of why I think it's so important for us to get as many people involved now who this community is a fit for, because it is meant to be inclusive, and there will be a point where people see the investment opportunity first, and I think the more people we have that really understand the spirit of what we're trying to do, the better off we're going to be in the long run. So let me see if there's anything else I wanted to cover in this. And then what we thought we'd do is go to questions. And we take a little bit of time for questions right now, and just while we're on this topic, and then we have a couple other topics to cover. So Who's got a question or a comment? Yes, Laura.
Hi, thank you, Michael. I would just like you to elaborate a little more on this distinction you just mentioned about, like, in August, we could make a choice about making a loan versus investment.
Okay, so the way we fundraise so far is through loans to the nonprofit. This is something we worked out with the lawyers because there's securities laws involved in all this that you have to follow to the T, or you get yourself in trouble. So what we've done, loans to a nonprofit are relatively simple and are handled state by state. So we have to jump through whatever hoops they say when you're loaning to a nonprofit, but we've been doing that. And so now that loan comes with the option to convert it to an investment. But right now we don't have a vehicle for an investment because we haven't completed the entitlements yet. So once the entitlements are complete, we will have, initially we'll have what they call paper lots. That means August or September, we're what they call platted. So there's a plat map made and it's registered in the city and it shows all the lots and all the products. And it's actually, even though it's only on paper because you haven't put in the roads or the sewer or the water yet, on paper, it's called a paper lot. And it's something that actually has value and you can actually invest in and take money for, and it's a real thing, even though there's several months more work and more fundraising to get to the roads and infrastructure. Now that once you're to the paper lots, the funding is relatively simple. There's many ways to skin that cat, and so it is, and actually I should say paper lots are, they if you don't complete the subdivision process and put in all that, they've got to be returned. But there's very little chance of that happening, because you basically, once you complete the infrastructure, I think the value of the property goes up by about 10 times. You can imagine 20 raw acres in Fort Collins compared to 20 acres in Fort Collins that has 146 units on it, and the streets and the infrastructure to build it. It's just it goes up astronomically. I'm trying to quantify that with a broker so we have a more of an idea, but the value is there, and in general, what we see from the numbers, and we've been vetted by local builders and consultants all over the place, and the numbers look good. They look fine. This is a good way to do what we're trying to do, is empower the nonprofit and its vision of community living. So we feel pretty solid on that. So did that answer your question well enough?
A little bit. Can I ask a follow-up?
Yeah, please.
Just because I don't know much about this kind of process. Let's just say hypothetically, I were to lend for that 4-year period, correct?
Right, but it only would last 10 months. If you decided to convert, it would only be a 10-month loan. But if you decide not to convert, we owe you the money back in 4 years.
Oh, okay. So that does, so my money is only tied up as long until I make a decision about converting or not.
Correct.
And then once I decide,
That's right.
Let's say I invested at this point $100,000, but then the property that I wanted to ultimately own or have a share in was, say, 400,000.
Right.
When do I have to pay the difference of 300,000?
Well, that's a very good question, and it depends on the product. So it is, are you in the the real estate investment trust, or are you building a single family home? You know, and so but basically, you would have to secure enough you would have to contribute enough to secure the value of the raw lot. Well, I shouldn't say raw lot, of the platted lot. So in other words, it has water and sewer and it's ready to go. So you would have to contribute that value in order to close on that unit, so to speak. And it is a little bit complicated because we have and this goes into a whole phasing conversation about how we're going to phase the building. Where do we start, and et cetera. And we are working on that plan. We have 2 other very good local builders who are working with us. And let me just say as an aside, and Dan, you'll be interested in this. We are now really looking at, there's about 18 or 19 single family lots. There's a couple of details being worked out there, but we are now looking at about a half a dozen of those being custom builds. That's sort of an idea we're working with right now. And then a builder who would build the other 12, say, and use his products, but people would have the ability to customize them. So it gives you an option for a more economical project. If you have a builder who has products and he knows the costs and he knows, he has the designs and the engineering is done, and a custom build, you basically starting from scratch. You're gonna get it all engineered individually for that one project. So anyway, I'm really happy about that, actually.
Michael, yes. Can you go back to Laura's question and say when she would have to put in the
okay? Thank you. Yes, I did not finish that. August, yeah, or as soon as we are platted, we will be at the point of decision for those who have loaned and are ready to convert. As soon as we are officially platted, they call it, or have paper lots to sell, we'll want to expedite that process. So if you want to move to an investment at that point, that's a good time to do it. And if you wanted to just keep your loan for 4 years, you could do that. Or if you wanted to decide later on you wanted to convert it, you could do that too. There would be nothing to stop you from waiting another year if you wanted to. Now, on the other hand, your spot in the queue will go away if you just sit and wait. People who are ready to convert will have the choice of where they would like to be. And so, yes, Bernadette.
For those of us who are not studied on the site map and you use the word product, can you start from the top with the single family lots and go down?
Sure.
Okay.
So we broke a real important rule of development by in this project, but we did it consciously. You know what the Dalai Lama says, know the rules so you know how to break them, which is what we did in this case. But everybody told us, and they're not wrong, don't have a whole bunch of products, because it's not the way to make money, but it is the way to have a diverse community, which is what we want. So we felt like that was very important to our vision. So the 19 single family homes are premium products, they're worth a ridiculous amount of money. And so, some people that fits fine and is perfect for them, and we want them in our community, but then.
So what are the other products?
What's that?
What are the other products?
So then we go to townhomes, which are fee simple, 1 unit, a townhome is basically a unit that is attached to other units, but is financially fee simple. In other words, you can buy it and sell it. It's your own particular, you can own it individually. Then you go to a condo, which is also true. You own your condo and you can sell it. It's a condo is a slightly different product without going into all the technicalities, but we have condos that are, 600 square feet, 415 square feet. That's at the far end. Those are extremely affordable. And then we have apartments. So these are not, and these are going to be among our most affordable because they're one unit, say one building with 10 or 12 units in it, and they aren't condos, so you can't sell them individually. They're perfect to be owned by the REIT or the TIC. The collaborative ownership model works well for that. Yes, apartments have 10 to 12 units on them, and some of them less than that. So we basically have a bunch of diverse products. We have quite a few duplexes, which are set up as townhomes. When we first created them, we were going to have some that were 2 units on one lot, but actually that didn't work out to save any money in the end. So the duplexes are all townhomes. In other words, if you wanted both sides of the duplex, you would buy 2 units. And that is a interesting economic model for some people too, who have capital and can, rent out and pick their neighbor, buy and build a duplex and then rent the other half out. As I was telling Dana and Marcel earlier today, we also have quite a few units that have what we call a lockout. And a lockout is designed as one unit, but it has a configuration in the floor plan that allows for a private entry and a complete functioning unit, albeit small. And their lockouts are great for Airbnbs or for rentals or for mother-in-law units or for your son home from college or whatever it is. They're just really handy to have that level of privacy and flexibility in your housing model. So my belief is that in the process over this next year, we're going to find a lot of different people who can who might go in and do lockouts together, who might, find that would be, somebody who'd be happy to pay rent or maybe has a little bit of money and could collaborate with somebody who has more money. And so there's a lot of different options there. So I think that covers about all the options.
Michael, could I ask, I'm sorry, do you have specific units on that map that you're referring to in terms of being this lockout?
If you look at the floor plans, you can probably figure it out. But yes, there's quite a few of them. And basically, imagine being able to enter and exit without going through anyone else's space, and then having the potential for a little efficiency apartment there, which in some cases there's a wet bar, or in some cases there's just a bathroom with the potential to put a wet bar in later. So you can probably see it on there if you take a look. Any other questions? And we were going to do small groups today, but we got a pretty small turnout, so maybe we don't really need to do today. Which is good because we're way over our time already. We got 15 minutes. More questions, anyone? Yes, Dana.
So I'm curious about the units that have 10 to 12 and you could potentially go in on it in common with 10 to 12 other people. Would you suggest, or is it part of the picture that you would find your 10 to 12 people, or people would just say, I'm interested in it, so put me in that pool? And secondly, what would the financial scenario be for qualifying for your share in that?
Yeah, no, good question. And there are a lot of details to work out soon and in all this. And this gets a little bit back to our phasing question, because my belief is that we we have two really good builders, one who's going to focus on the single family, which might also include some custom building. Another that's going to focus on the northernmost townhomes. And then where I really want to focus with Polestar's energy and building capability is on the building around the green. And it would make sense to build 2 of those 10-plexes right off the bat. And so that would probably be what we would do. And let's say you didn't want to be in those are the D buildings right now, but you didn't want to be in the D, you wanted to be in a B, you could move into a D to start, because it's going to be ready to go. If the people are ready to move onto the land, we'll have 10 units. We'll probably put one aside for a place to gather, meditate, or have kitchen and dining together. So we'll have right off the bat, we'll have the elements of community building there. We'll have a place to dine and gather and garden and play and meditate. And so I think by building, we get a lot of value out of those first 2 buildings by getting them up, and it'll be all the elements of community will be in place, and we'll have job security in terms of karma yoga in front of us. Yeah. Endless things to do for the rest of our lives. Yeah.
And Michael, the condos range in their size also. Some are 2 bedrooms, some are 3 bedroom, right?
They sure do. Yes. In the D buildings. Yes. And I think that's part of how we phase is we see who we are at that point.
No, not in the D buildings, the other buildings.
Yes. There are 3 and 4 bedrooms in those.
Right.
Yeah. Some of them with garages, so we've really, I think.
Are there studios?
There are. Yes. Well, actually, no, everything has 1 bedroom.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything has 1 bedroom. Which is kind of nice, even though they're small and compact. I think they'll work really well for some people and be relatively affordable in Fort Collins and really be a rich lifestyle for somebody who doesn't have a ton of resources. Yeah, any other questions?
About the apartment and being built first, the apartment building. So let's say I wanted to, start living in community as soon as the apartment is available. So, and I invest some money there, but my ultimate goal is to live in a different property. When that property is available, is it literally just selling my shares to someone else in the apartment ownership model?
Well, this is the beauty of the real estate investment trust, or the TIC, is that you don't have to sell it. If you're moving to a place that's also part of the real estate investment trust, you wouldn't have to sell it. This is one of the big advantages. If you're moving to a place that's more standalone, fee simple, your own house and your own investments separate from the collaborative, then you would, if you wanted to sell your interest, you could sell it. And basically, the way these things have worked over the years is it's impressive. There's people who want in, and because it's a good investment. And I don't think you can go too far wrong with rental property in Fort Collins, honestly, especially in this context. So you might leave your money in if you were able to,
If I had enough capital to then purchase the other property, and then the real estate investment is just what it is, an investment that pays off. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bernadette.
So it comes in at 100, moves into the situation where she can sell it or trade it or whatever later. And you're saying when she moves in, no matter what when in the future she decides to move, her 100 is gonna increase to something because of the infrastructure that's around her now. And it's
Right.
like, it's a no-brainer, right? She wins either way.
Well, if you're in the real estate investment trust, you basically have the ability to take units that come available. So, and the goal is to have some amount of rental units. And this gets into your question just stated, Dana. If you had, let's say you didn't have enough capital to represent one entire unit. Let's say it was a $250,000 unit or a $300,000 unit, and you only had 150,000. You could put that in and move into that unit potentially and pay the rent on the value that's left between the difference between your investment and its value. And it also puts you in the queue above any other renters. And this is not insignificant in the sense that, so I mean, even if you put in 50,000, you could be part of the real estate investment trust and be a renter, you know, this is a good thing in part because you know, the rental laws, which I fully support, you can't discriminate against anybody. But if you're an investor, you're allowed to, you know, you're allowed to, you know, move into your owned place, you know. So it does give us more flexibility with that. We've already got a waiting list for rentals, by the way. Actually, people are putting their name in. So it's pretty great, and actually great people we would love to be in community and with, you know. So we would make that list long, you know, and so we I think this could really be an important service too, because not everyone's got money lying around they can put into a house, you know, and they'd be important parts of our community.
Bernadette, did that answer your question?
Yeah, I guess it would increase if someone was moving into a standalone.
It doesn't increase, you have to increase it. You have to pay more
All right, I see what you're saying. Okay.
or not, but
Now you have your investment will never increase, even though the property is increasing. Is that what you're saying?
No, your value will increase as properties increase, but your percentage of the whole won't increase necessarily unless you put in more. Does that make sense? And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, are we at that point 100 people trying to get into the first 20 units, or you know, what's the score there? Or do we have a few we can put for rentals, you know?
Well, that's a good question. So
Yeah.
you raised 2.4, right? How many people are we talking about that have already put their foot?
There's
in?
about 20 people who have invested so far, but there's probably another 20 on some level of the process and ready to go. And actually, now that we've cleared the more recent hurdles, really, I've been holding them back just because we were processing so much stuff, and we thought we had a new way forward, which didn't exactly work out. But now I think people are gonna put in. There's quite a few who want to be part of it, and all great people. All right, we are at 5:22. If there's any burning questions, we can answer them. And otherwise, I'm going to hand off to Terry, who's going to tell us a little bit about another aspect of our fundraising, which we call the Polestar Ohana. So take it away, Terry. If you don't know Terry, she's been working with us for many months and is in some sort of process of moving here to Fort Collins area. And she grew up in the Denver area, right, Terry?
Yeah.
And so Terry has done an incredible amount of work, sort of putting us on the map, just promotions and organizing our business. She's just been done an incredible job. She organized the dedication, which was really an amazing event. So, okay, go ahead, Terry. I'll mute myself.
Thanks, Michael. Hello, everyone. So we're forming this new program. We're going to call it the Polestar Ohana. Many of you know what that means already. And those of you who don't, it's Hawaiian for extended family, which is, I love it. It's such a beautiful word. And it's going to be a donation program. And if you've, I think many of you have participated, whether it's financially or serving literally with time and sweat in an organization or an endeavor like Polestar Village, an organization like Polestar Gardens, and an endeavor like Polestar Village, you know how important volunteers are and donations are. And it's not only powerful for the organization, but it's also powerful for all of us who are serving, whether it's financially. So it is really a give and take type thing. So something like this is such an exciting additional way to participate and co-create with what's happening here. So we formed it on a platform called Donor Box. And our goal right now is $5,000 a month, whether that's through one-time donations on the platform or with reoccurring monthly donations or quarterly, however those are convenient for you and would look. So you'll start to see this link. It's on the website right now. If you go to the website on the upper right-hand corner, it says donate, and that'll take you right to the platform. And it's in the newsletter, the last newsletter that went out, and you'll see it in our event invitations, and it'll pop up there for you, and a little bit of more explanation of
That's on the Polestar Village website.
Polestar Village website, correct? Thanks, Anne. And the different levels to donate, and however you want to customize it for yourself. So, anything else? Michael, did I cover that, you think?
I think so. Thank you, Terry. That's great. Yeah. And as most of you probably know, this is how Polestar got this far. We've just done a lot of service, many people who are in the Zoom call, and a lot of contributions from people all over. And it's really what supported us. And this particular effort is especially, the development is sort of its own financial model, but this is in particular to support the energetic part of Polestar, the kirtans, the music groups, the meditations, which admittedly have been not impressive in this time of COVID. It really sort of took us off our feed when we not only lost our community, but then COVID hit, so but this is how a work like this is supported. The people who are part of it and tune into it, they contribute monthly. It's just how it really works. And so we really want to ask everyone to participate. If everybody who can put in $100 a month, we'll get up to our number pretty darn quick, and so think about that.
And we also have a lot of events coming up, a lot of good, they're on the calendar on the website and in the newsletter, retreats and kirtans.
Okay.
That's awesome,
We're
Terry.
doing pretty good on time.
Michael,
Yes.
can I ask a quick question in relationship to that? Because at the Village, for instance, I was just talking to a lot of young people who would love to come out and help build when the time comes. Is that an option?
It most definitely is. And that has been a standard thing at Polestar, is working with young people. It's sort of what we've done over many years. And this is like the perfect service environment. There's so much to do. There's the garden, there's building, there's, connecting, there's, so it's a really, as soon as we start getting some housing, we're going to definitely have a work trade program going next year, and some programs that are specifically involved in, building the community. So thanks.
Michael, is there a point when they would be able to camp on the land?
We are in the city limits, so camping is not a great thing. haven't totally given up on that idea though, it's, because having an on-site trailer for security is probably something we could swing with. So it's, that is one of the difficulties is housing in the early going, but it'll get better. We'll start building stuff and then there'll be extra rooms and lockouts and guest rooms and the ag building. probably make a few places to crash there, for the right apprentice, and we'll figure it out. All right. Anyone else have a comment or a quick question? And then I think Bernadette has a song for us to close. Okay, Bernadette. I think we are there. We kept it to an hour. Not bad. We never would have done it with the small groups. So it's good.
Right?
Yeah. Don't let hurricanes hold you back. Raging rivers or shark attacks. Find love, then give it all away. Find love and give it all away. Wrestle bears, bring 'em to their knees. Steal the honey from killer bees. Find love and give it all away. Find love and give it all away. Don't be scared to connect the dots. Dig for gold in farm lots. Find love and give it all away. Find love and give it all away. That lyric's for you, Michael. Dig for gold in farm lots.
Thank you. That was sweet.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that was beautiful. We'll have to write a few new verses on that. Gotta get the volcano in there.
Well, Anne left because of hurricanes, so that verse is for her.
Great to see you all.